Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Zach Lee. Welcome back to the Zach Lee Show, where we talk about everything that went on in the NBA from the previous day. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs for coming back each and every single day. Can't thank you guys enough. But now let's just get into everything that did go down in the NBA yesterday. Let's go. Well, you guys remember that video I made a couple of days ago saying that Kawhi Leonard would be coming back this Thursday against the New Orleans Pelicans? That would actually be tomorrow. Well, it appears due to some complication that isn't going to happen anymore. Kawhi Leonard and Greg Popovich yesterday had a meeting to discuss his possible return to the court and how they were going to handle it. And after the meeting, the media got to Greg Popovich and picked his brain a bit on the meeting that he had with Kawhi Leonard. Asked if we could have any updates or when we could expect to see Kawhi Leonard back on the court, and this is what Popovich had to say. Like anybody else, he's frustrated. He wants to be playing. He's competitive. It's been a tough year in that regard for him, but the first step is to get cleared by the medical staff that he's seeing. Until he gets cleared, we can't make a decision on when he's coming back. So once he gets cleared, then I can sit down and talk and see what we think is an appropriate time to come back, but that clearance has to be obtained first. So Kawhi Leonard has been cleared by the Spurs medical staff to come back. They've actually done that a long time ago. It's just the medical staff that he went out to New York to see around the All-Star break that hasn't cleared him to return to the court yet. And who knows when that's going to happen, but time is ticking. And honestly, Popovich said more too. And what he said kind of has me thinking that despite what Kawhi Leonard said, when Kawhi Leonard said that he is going to be coming back this season, I'm starting to think that Kawhi might actually not be coming back this season. And the Spurs are willing to live with that, even if it means missing out of the playoffs for the first time in 20 years. As Popovich went on to say that he doesn't care nearly as much about this particular NBA season as he does about the career of Kawhi Leonard going forward. Our history is pretty well documented. If we're going to err, we're going to err on the conservative side because his career is going to be of paramount importance to us. It's not the game or the playoffs or this or that. It's the same way it was with Tim Duncan early on when he hurt his knee one year and we didn't let him go in the playoffs. I don't know if it's going to be this situation, we don't know, but his career is going to be paramount in our thinking as we make a decision. With 14 games left in the season now, going to be 13 after the game against the Pelicans, which Kawhi has already been ruled out for, and then at least a couple more games after that as we await his doctors in New York to clear him to come back to the court. And then after that, Kawhi Leonard and Greg Popovich had to have another meeting where they discuss his possible return to the court. Honestly, there will be less than 10 games left in the season by the time Kawhi Leonard is able to play again. And can I just say, as a Kawhi Leonard fan, I am beyond disappointed by this. I understand why the Spurs are doing it. Heck, I'm glad that the San Antonio Spurs are putting his career, his longevity first. But at the same time, it does suck that we didn't get to see Kawhi Leonard play this season. And if I had to place a bet on whether I think he will or won't return, I will put my money on he's not coming back. And that's just based off what Greg Popovich said alone. That's the guy who's been saying for weeks now that he'd be surprised if Kawhi Leonard played at all again. And it's like the further along it gets, the less sense it makes for him to come back. Originally, when the reports came out saying that he was coming back Thursday, I thought, yeah, that's plenty of time. There'll be 14 games left in their season. That's enough time for him to get a bunch of rust off, get back into game shape before the playoff. But now if we're talking about maybe have that less than 10 games by the time he comes back, then it's like that's not enough time for him to get back into game shape before the playoffs. Then to expect him to lead them to a series win over the Houston Rockets or the Golden State Warriors right after coming back from an injury that's kept him out the entire season, that's not very realistic. Heck, maybe even asking him to lead them to the playoffs after coming back from an injury that's kept him out the entire season, since they're currently sitting on the outside looking in, might be too much to ask. So yeah, it's probably best to say, you know what, forget it, let's move on to next season. Adam Silver is about to demand some answers out of Dirk Nowitzki. We all know that Adam Silver has been on a witch hunt for teams that could be tanking, trying to lose on purpose this season. And well, yesterday, Dirk Nowitzki says that he has a tanking radar. He can easily tell which teams are trying to lose games. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. There are obviously some teams that are going for some losses. We're still one that wants to win. He also went on to say that the Mavericks can't tank because the comments Mark Cuban made put them under a microscope for the rest of the season and probably many more seasons to come. So he can tell, he says it's obvious, and I honestly think it's pretty obvious too. All of these bad teams out here that are losing to Dallas Mavericks badly, yeah, all those teams are tanking. I said it a couple of days ago when the Mavericks almost beat the Memphis Grizzlies by 30 points. If you get blown out by Dallas, you are tanking. There is no other excuse. I mean, a bad team getting blown out by a good team, that's understandable, but losing to the Dallas Mavericks by 20 or 30 points, how is that possible? Tyronn Lue demoted J.R. Smith to the bench in favor of starting Kyle Korver. And according to J.R. Smith, Tyronn Lue did it in the worst way possible. He didn't even talk to him about it. We didn't talk. Lue sent me a text on Monday and I told him no problem. I didn't know that it was a talk. I'm not upset about it. I just wish there would have been more dialogue, I guess. That is kind of messed up, to be honest. Couldn't even tell him to his face at practice or anything. Send him a text and said, you're not starting anymore. You're coming off the bench. Man, I really don't see how anyone could defend this coming from a head coach. I don't see how anyone can defend Tyronn Lue as the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers anymore. Sure, with the way J.R. Smith has been playing this season, he doesn't deserve to be starting right now. Maybe coming off the bench will do him some good. But to be the head coach and to not go directly to the player or even do him the courtesy of actually calling him on the phone to discuss this, saying over text that you're benched, you're not starting anymore, that's such a weak move. And Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, might need to send Tyronn Lue a little simple text of his own. 2 words, you're fired. That's it, no discussion needed. This is a playoff series that needs to happen. I don't know how or when it will happen. It certainly won't be this year, but hopefully next year somehow we will get to see the LA Lakers versus the Denver Nuggets in a 7-game series. And I guess I'll throw in the highlights from last night's game since the news part of this does pertain to what happened in last night's game. So the Lakers got their revenge on the Denver Nuggets, and this was pretty much a must-win game for them after Jamal Murray taunted them at the end of the last 2 games that they had played. And the Lakers played like it was a must-win game as they mounted a comeback and took over late to get the 112-103 win. Randall and Kuzma were both great for the Lakers with 26 points and 13 rebounds each. And speaking of Randall, that is the bit of news that we gotta cover, because once again things went down towards the end of this one, but this time it didn't involve Jamal Murray. It was between Julius Randle and Nikola Jokic. In the final seconds, Randle bumped Jokic a bit. Jokic goes flying down and gets up and goes after Randle. The two of them are separated and that's the end of things. After the game though, Julius Randle let us know why the situation between him and Jokic escalated to that point, saying, I just didn't like the way he was coming down flailing, flapping his arms and stuff, and that's fine, that's his game. But when you hook my arm and try and pull my shoulder out of place, I don't like that. Dude said flopping, and that Jokic tried to do to him what Kelly Olynyk did to Kevin Love in the playoffs a couple of years ago. But this was just a clash that was bound to happen when you have 2 guys that have completely different play styles, 2 big men with completely different play styles. Julius Randle is more of a physical big. He likes to bully his way down in the paint, whereas Nikola Jokic is more of a finesse player. He likes to, finesse. So there was that, but then Jokic wasn't the only player that Randle commented on after the game. He also gave his thoughts on how he feels about Jamal Murray and his little beef with the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't talk to him much. Honestly, I like the kid. To be honest, I just don't. We are not for the antics that he has had over the past few games. New rivalries. We don't get to see these 2 teams play again this season, but I hope that the tension that they have between them holds over till next season and even grows in the coming years. And like I said, if it does, we need a playoff series between these 2 teams. That wraps up all the news from yesterday though. Now let's take a quick look at the rest of the games from last night. Looks like J.R. Smith coming off the bench was the right move for Tyronn Lue to make. Like I said though, the way he made it was extremely weak, and that is no way that a real head coach should handle things. Can't argue with the results though, as the Cavs got the 129-107 blowout win over the Suns. JR was actually productive off the bench with 14 points, and Korver was a great fit in the starting lineup as he had 22 points, hitting 5 of his 6 shots from distance. Of course though, the real reason the Cavs won was because of LeBron James. Yet another triple-double for him, his 14th of the season, with 28 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists. Russell Westbrook got dunked on. Yep, that happened by the rookie John Collins. Dude can get up there, but I guess that's okay because Westbrook also got his 100th career triple-double and the win. He is only the 4th player in NBA history to have 100 career triple-doubles. 119-107 the final score. Westbrook with 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists, and despite their very up and down season, the Thunder still have the 4 seed in the Western Conference. Not too far off where people thought they would be to start the season. It's just, the way they got there has been a bit different. Looked like D'Lo was about to drop at least 50 to 60 points in this game in the first quarter. Dude had 24 in the opening period alone, and then, well, he came back to earth as the Raptors kept him under wraps for the rest of the game. Toronto gets a 116-102 win over Brooklyn to extend their win streak. Jonas Valanciunas probably one of the more underappreciated players in the NBA, led Toronto with 26 points and 14 rebounds, while Russell finished the game with 32. The Wolves are fighting for their playoff lives without Jimmy Butler, and I have to say, over the past 2 games, I have been impressed. Got 2 quality wins, one of the Warriors and now one over the Wizards as well, 116 to 111. I've been especially impressed with Towns though. He was amazing in his game against the Warriors, and he was just as great last night, finishing with 37 points and 10 rebounds. And you know, maybe D Rose, even though he hasn't really done anything for them yet in his time on the court, is like a good luck charm for them or something, since they won both their games with him. Rajon Rondo, the guy can still become a point god every now and then. When some players get in their zone, they become unstoppable in the sense where they can score at will. Rondo though, when he has it going, he makes it more so that his team can score at will, making plays for others. 12 points, 17 assists, and 5 steals for Rajon yesterday as the Pelicans hang on to get the 119 to 115 win over the Hornets. Davis was also his usual self with 31 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Miles Turner and Joel Embiid had a showdown yesterday. Embiid won the battle on the personal level as his 29 points and 12 rebounds trumped Turner's 25 points and 6 rebounds, but that doesn't matter as much because the Pacers still won the game, 101 to 98, a huge win that helped them hang on to the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. And this game had a bit of a playoff feel to it as well. In the 3rd quarter, Embiid fell onto Sabonis' ankle. He's fine, by the way. X-rays came back negative, which took him out of the game. Then Embiid and the coach of the Pacers exchanged some words. Then Embiid got hit with the technical for pushing Lance in the back. This could very well be a 1st round matchup in the East, and this game should give it a nice storyline. LaMarcus Aldridge came back for the Spurs yesterday, and he was huge for them as he scored 24 points. Not quite sure that he needed him though, because the Spurs pounded the Magic into the ground, 108 to 72. After falling out of the playoff standings with the loss to the Rockets the game before, the Spurs really couldn't have asked for a better opponent to pummel and get back on the track as they await for the possible return of Kawhi Leonard. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I knew this game was over within like the first 5 minutes. Like sometimes you can just tell. You see all you need to see in a couple minutes and chalk it up as an L. And more often than not, you know, you're right. Look, I know I'm not the only person that has felt or done this before, as I just knew it was over for my Pistons. They got manhandled by the Jazz yesterday, 110 to 79 the final score. I knew it as soon as I saw the starters Detroit was rolling out. Even though the final score only shows they lost by 31, it felt more like 50. Rudy Gobert with 22 points and 12 rebounds, while Luke Kennard had 18 for the Pistons. DeAndre Jordan continues to ball out. He was looking kind of suspect early in the season. There were rumors floating around the teams weren't going to be willing to pay him nearly as much as he was expecting to make this offseason. And maybe that's what has him playing so well. The man wants to get paid. 29 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 assists for DJ as the Clippers get another win, even though it was just against the Bulls. 112 to 106 the final score, as Lou Williams also played well with 25. Harrison Barnes scored 30. The Knicks lost again. That's all. That was all the action from last night though. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily NBA news. Remember to vote for the player of the day, but also remember the only players whose team won are eligible to win player of the day. And yesterday, you guys selected Brandon Jennings and his 16 points, 12 assists, and 8 rebounds as your player of the day. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see all of you right back here tomorrow, but until then, I am out of here.